May the folks be with you. It's May the 4th. I am Tejas,
I'm Tani.
and we are the folks. Have you heard about the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
I did.
But but even if you haven't, it doesn't matter because we are gonna discuss about the Mount Rushmore of the Jedi and Mount Rushmore of the Sith in this video.
Tan 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 tan
Dun, dun,
tan
dun,
tan
dun, dun,
tan.
dun, dun, dun. Take it away,
Holy.
Tani.
Okay. Thank you, Teju. So this is my list of the top Sith which we have seen on the silver screen. So number one, the most iconic Sith of all time, who did the whole Skywalker saga, who made Anakin Skywalker bleed to death, who made everybody wrap their heads around what the hell is going on in this sequel, in this prequel, in this OG. Oh my god, the guy, Papa Palpatine.
Palpatine.
Darth Sidious. This character was written by George Lucas so brilliantly that his whole hatred towards this one powerful being in the society came through such a fruition that he made him such evil and such cunning fellow that he delivered the most iconic twists in cinema ever. So Darth
Ever.
Sidious is
Indeed.
top for me.
Indeed.
Number two, the most conflicted person on the planet, on the in the galaxy ever, who was scary but soulful at the same time. Whose torment you must have felt when you were watching The Revenge of the Sith. Of course, I'm talking
Yeah.
about Anakin Skywalker's switch to Darth Vader. Darth Vader's
Yeah.
theme is the most iconic theme which we have seen in a long time by any franchise standard. So yeah, Darth Vader is period the best second Sith ever. After that, there is one guy who has delivered so many different storylines, being a Mandalorian, being a kind of Crimson Dawn head, or being the perfect Sith killing machine. Yes, brothers, we are talking about Darth Maul. Darth Maul, the guy
Yeah.
who is part witch, part Darth, part Sith, part evil, part great, part soulful, part complex, part the tragedy of the Maul, the tragedy of all things of Maul.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Indeed.
he is the most disturbed soul in the galaxy. Period. Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tejas, you were
Yeah.
saying something. You wanted to take something.
No, I was just agreeing with you
Right.
that Darth Maul is probably the embodiment of the conflict of the Force.
Right. Totally. Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. And now to your final, number 4.
Oh my God. So there is one issue that we might not have seen any more Sith in the whole storyline. So what I might do right now, because we want the Mount Rushmore of all things, I would say for a very minuscule period of time, we saw a person in lurking in the shadows. There is a story behind him in canon, and Darth Sidious talks about him, but we have not seen him much. But maybe the storm is brewing with this personality. Yes, yes, people, I'm talking about Darth Plagueis. But since we have not seen him much, he's way low in my ranking list. So if there is a hierarchy in Mount Rushmore, which I think it is because some people's heads are taller than the other, maybe I'm an idiot. But if that is there, my first is Sidious, second is Vader, third is Maul, and the fourth is Plagueis. So now take it, Tejas.
I think our list is gonna be 100% the same, but the sequencing is gonna be completely different.
Great.
The sequences, and I'll first start with giving a couple of honorable mentions who were not there in the on the screens, but they are there in the story, they are there in the lore, and they are amazing. The first one I would mention as an honorable mention is Darth Bane,
Hmm.
who can be considered basically as the founder of the Sith Order by integrating the rule of two.
Yes.
The rule of two that became so integral to everything till the rise of Skywalker.
Right.
So yeah, that rule of two. So kudos to Darth Bane for doing it, and he was a master manipulator, as all Sith are. So have to mention him. The other honorable mention is Darth Revan, who was fantastic against the Republic, and he was one of those Sith lords who was amazing in using both the dark and the light side of the Force explicitly well. I think he might have had a split personality disorder, because how else can you explain using both of them so efficiently? But yeah, the voices in his head, just like Randy Orton, were devastating.
There was the WWE reference for you, folks.
Yeah, WrestleMania just happened. Incredible storyline between a Jedi Randy Orton and the Sith John Cena is happening. So yeah, it's fascinating. So I had to bring that up a little bit. Jivanshu will be so happy with us on this segment. Yeah. So, but
Right.
now coming to my Mount Rushmore,
Right.
and since you have given your Mount Rushmore a ranking, I will have to do the same because our names are exactly the same.
Right.
My ranking, I'll start from the bottom. We agree on the bottom that uh, the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise is probably the fourth. But I would mention that this Sith Lord is so important for the whole storyline that his concocted story is what is used to turn some of the brightest Force users into from the Jedi to the Sith, or from potential Jedi to the deadly Sith.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
is his impact. We have to consider
Yes,
the impact,
absolutely.
which I think, Tani just
Briefly
undermentioned a little
mentioned,
bit.
right? Yeah.
He
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because he's not that below the rest three. It's just we have seen way more of the rest of the three.
True.
And my number three, and that is where the contention begins. My number three is Darth Vader.
Hmm. Okay.
Darth Vader is a fantastic Sith Lord, amazing character development. But why is he number three will come up when I tell my number one. My number two is Papa Palpatine, Darth
Hmm.
Sidious, brainwasher supreme, the Supreme Chancellor, got everyone in the Senate in the galaxy fooled, and the turn and the Force lightnings were the twist of the century. It was brilliantly done. It was amazing.
Right.
He's a brilliantly written
Right.
character. But there is one who is better, and he is my numero uno of Sith.
Right.
And trust me, folks, even if you don't agree with it, you will see the logic in it, because Darth Maul is the embodiment of the Sith, the fall of the Sith, the folly of the Sith,
Right.
and the conflict of the Sith.
Right.
He is the most complete character development of a Sith on screen. That is, a lot of it is thanks to Clone Wars, a lot of
Yes.
it is thanks to the animated series. But Anakin Skywalker was there too. They could have shown the rise in darkness over there as well. They could have shown hints of it, but that was an opportunity missed, in my opinion.
Right.
But Darth Maul was bang on. Like, everything about Darth Maul screams conflict, screams pain, screams tragedy. He should be the successor to Darth Plagueis for the other Sith to brainwash other Siths into the dark side
Totally.
too,
Totally.
because he was that good.
Right.
And I believe he he is the greatest representation of Sith menace
Hmm.
in Star Wars,
True. True. He is the
because
Phantom Menace. He is
he
the
is the
Phantom
Phantom
Menace.
Menace. Yeah,
So
you
yeah.
you got what I did
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I saw,
You
I
got
saw,
what I
I
did there.
saw that. I saw the opening. I went. Right.
Yeah. So that's why my ranking is a little different. There are these four people. The two honorable mentions are amazing, but we want to see more of them.
Totally, totally.
We
We
hopefully see
want
more of
we
them.
want Disney to do Sith the way Sith has been written in the books, because the book Siths are legendary. they can deliver on the
Legendary.
promise of the complicated emotional turmoil within every single Sith,
Yeah.
from generations to generations, from the old to the high to the Skywalker saga and the future, everything.
And speaking of emotional turmoil, it is time to rank the Jedi.
Holy yes!
Da da da
Da da
da
da.
da.
So
Da
should I go
da
for
da da
should I
da
go
da
for the
da
blue one
da.
or should I go for the green one? Because I am conflicted. I believe green is the color of the Jedi, but blue.
Whenever in confusion about blue and green, just go for the purple, man.
No, no, Windu, don't kill me because somewhere great Samuel L. Jackson is using those words to butcher me right now.
Uh,
So yeah, so let's go
yeah. So
the green.
yeah, because you love the
I
greens.
love the green. I love green. I love the Jedi green. I love Yoda green. I love everything about this thing, this color, this universal color. Okay,
Yeah. So
so who's
getting
gonna
back
take
to
it?
the point,
Who's gonna take it?
you the Incredible She-Hulk is gonna take it.
Cool.
Your room looks like the Fortress of Solitude of some Hulk, but it's
Totally.
okay. But yeah, so who are the top four
Okay,
of your Mount
so
Rushmore of Jedi?
guys, Jedi, man. So this is a list. This is a list. So the Siths did the rule of two, but Jedi's never wasted their time in any two or one. They said millions are good. So the number of Jedi's there are in the galaxy is such a big number. So we cannot do
And on the
just
screen as well.
yeah on the screen as well. So we cannot do justice to every single one of them. But of course, we have
We
a
can
mount.
do justice to four.
Yeah, we can do justice to four. And we have a list. I will tell you the name of the people whom I will shout out, give a shout out, and there are pretty big number, okay? 14 numbers. So please stay with me, folks. So okay, so in my thinking, the person who shows what the philosophy of Star Wars is Master Yoda. Yoda tells the story of what this whole philosophy of dark versus light, good versus evil, the whole dichotomy of survival within a galaxy which is completely living in the gray zone. This is complicated thing, and George Lucas has delivered this in spades. And his main character was Yoda to give the wiseness in the whole Star Wars universe. So for me, number one, always Yoda. Number two, this
So
person
Yoda won for me.
Yoda one for you.
That
So
was a Backstreet Boy reference. Yoda won for
Yoda one for
me.
me. So yeah. So and then there is this personality. There is this personality who, if would not have died, the whole Star Wars would have been a different place, would have been a different kind of timeline, would have been a different Jedi Order, would have been a different future for Anakin Skywalker, would have been totally
Would
different for
have been a
Palpatine.
different galaxy.
Yeah, the whole galaxy would have been a better place to live in. And so this is the very reason I always go for Qui-Gon Jinn as the second most important, most reverent soul in the Jedi Order period for me.
Totally agree.
Number three.
Totally agree.
Number three. This is where I am gonna play today. This is where I'm gonna play today. So for me, Luke is an answer to a question put up by George Lucas in the first prequel trilogy. So the first three movies. So George Lucas have put up a question. The answer of that question is Luke Skywalker. So for me, the original story is what makes me feel that that guy was the best Jedi of all time. For me, Anakin Skywalker, if he would have been with Qui Gon Jinn, would have been the epitome of the Jedi Order there would have been, because he was the chosen one. He was the person to bring balance to the force. The Bendu thinks of him as the one in the center of the whole gamut of light versus dark battle. He's right in the center of it. So for me, Anakin Skywalker takes the crown because he was the original question put up by George Lucas himself. Number four, the person who drove the first trilogy, the person who drove the OG trilogy, the person who got his end by the friend he always thought he missed, and the person who called him brother. Of course, I'm
So
talking about
are you talking about Han Solo?
maybe Han Solo also called him, but not brother.
Because Han Solo carried the first trilogy.
Totally.
That's the joke.
Yes. I agree with you. But Han Solo wouldn't call him brother. Han Solo would call him, dude, you're way too old for my charms, man. So, yes, of course, folks, I'm talking
Jokes
about.
apart,
Yeah, totally. He looks great, man. He always looks great. So, I'm talking about Obi-Wan
slick.
Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi. So,
Yeah,
for me, Mount Rushmore is filled with these four mega people, and who actually delivered on the promise of what a Star Wars and the Jedi and the positivity in the life of humans can be shown. And these are the people who
yeah,
show it. So I will
yeah.
say it again: Yoda, Qui-Gon Jinn, Anakin Skywalker, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So you take
So
it, Tejas.
I find it very fascinating that the epitome of Jedi-ness, according to the storyline, is not even in the Mount Rushmore.
Right.
Luke Skywalker is not in the
Yes,
Mount Rushmore.
that is my
And
take. This is my wild take on
and
this.
and
Right,
and it says a lot about the two of us here at the folks
right.
that my four are exactly the same. The sequence again is a little different, but Luke Skywalker does not make it to my top four. He is the closest five in my list as well.
He's
And
five
the
for me
reason,
as well.
so
Right.
it and honestly, if I could carve another face in the Mount Rushmore, then Luke will be at the same height as all these people.
Totally.
But Anakin Skywalker for me is not number four. For you, it is number four. For me, he is number two. Because Anakin Skywalker, especially considering the trilogy, yeah, he was your number three, right? I'm so sorry. So he is not a number three for me. He is a number two for me. Uh, Obi-Wan Kenobi is my number one Jedi because Obi-Wan Kenobi was bigger than the flaws of Yoda.
Hmm.
I think he was the embodiment of what the Jedi Order should be. He was the perfect disciple of someone like Qui-Gon Jinn,
Hmm.
who was disillusioned sufficiently with the Jedi Order
Totally.
to
Right.
know, acknowledge, and teach about its flaws. And he was the perfect Padawan, and then he was the perfect brother before he was the perfect brother to Anakin Skywalker,
Right.
and that is the reason he is number one on my list. Number two on my list is Anakin Skywalker for way more than what he was to what he could have been.
Right.
And we have all seen Clone Wars, hopefully,
Right.
and we know how amazing a Jedi Master Anakin Skywalker was. He was one of the greatest masters. He created a character like Ahsoka Tano, who was so moral that she could not be a Jedi. And that says a lot
That
about the
says a lot
teaching
about
of
Anakin, man. Yeah.
Anakin, and that
Yeah.
says a lot about the teaching of Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Right.
and that also says a lot about the number three in my list, who is Qui-Gon Jinn, probably the biggest loss of the
Yeah.
galaxy, the biggest loss to the light side, but he was necessary, his death was necessary to bring the balance to the Force, because the Force was imbalanced. There was the good was cracking, the evil was lurking, the Jedi Order was holier than thou and too righteous. And why Yoda is in the number four? of my Mount Rushmore is because for 830 plus years, he was right there at the
Right.
center of it and he did not do shit about it. That's the only reason he's on my number four.
Totally.
And honestly, I could even kick him out of the Mount Rushmore and bring Luke Skywalker in and bring Yoda to number five. They are actually interchangeable for
Yes.
me
Yes.
in this
Yes.
list because Luke Skywalker shows the same flaws in the Disney trilogy and he rises above them, but he shows the same flaws that Yoda did, and he was the perfect Yoda Padawan.
Right. Right.
He was, he had the flaw, and that shows the problems of Jedi Order. That anyone who was
Yes.
disillusioned by the Jedi Order was a better master.
Sure.
Uh,
Absolutely. I agree with
so,
you on this.
yeah, and honestly, the only reason Ahsoka is not in this list is because she never was a complete Jedi,
Mm.
theoretically, but she was the best of them all.
Yes.
In my humble
Yes.
opinion, she is the greatest
This is
force user.
yeah, this is sometimes very saddening to me. Okay, I'll take a rip off of a little bit on the sequel thing. Ahsoka Tano is the perfect setup for a person who is better at building a Jedi Order, the knowledge of it, the history of it, the issues she knew were there, the corrections she was making. She even purified a bleeding kyber crystal to make it peaceful. She had the white lightsaber. She was the perfect future of what the Star
But
Wars
but
story
but
was.
that is where she was very one with her emotions, and knowing the fact that her master, the great Anakin Skywalker, became a shell of himself and got seduced by the dark side was gonna be a much bigger shock for someone like Ahsoka
Yeah,
Tano.
totally. I
And
agree with you on this.
that's the only reason
Right,
she went in her shell.
right.
And that's the only reason she could not be a Jedi. And that is why I am very glad that she was not a Jedi.
I,
She's a much better character for
Absolutely.
it.
I don't disagree with you. The decisions she has made, absolutely right decisions she has made.
But we are in the what if territory, right?
Right,
So
right.
what
So
if?
so exactly. So that is where I also feel that she was the perfect person to even be renounced as a person who could take the philosophy ahead, because she knew the wrongs and the rights right away. She was the only person to be persuaded to do that. So again, this is again some rant,
Exactly.
some side note talk, but again, this is hopeful thinking,
Yeah.
wishful thinking
Yeah.
from our
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
So this is a
Yeah. Because
legendary
season 2 is
list,
coming.
Teju. This is a legendary list you have made and I have made.
And so many legends are out of it.
So many legends are out of it. So okay, so should I give the
Honorable mentions.
honorable
Yeah,
mentions?
just the list.
Okay, okay,
Just the list.
okay. So
No
here
need of
so
explanation.
here we go. Luke Skywalker. Of course, Luke Skywalker is gonna be on the top of the whole thing. Mace Windu, Ahsoka Tano, Dooku, Kanan Jarrus, Plo Koon, Ezra Bridger, Eno Cordova, Chirutimwe, Cal Kestis, Quinlan Voss, Darth Raven, the Darth part later, the Raven part first. Kit Fasto, Kelvin Beck, Kyle Catran, Kyle Kataran, something, Kyle Catran, something. Forget it. Last one, leave him. Don't even put him in the video because I cannot take his name. Kyle Katarn. Kyle Katarn. Right, did it.
No, this is definitely gonna be in the video. And I just got a little emotional because there is one name in this list of honorable mentions who is also the embodiment of the purity and the dignity of the light side, and he is probably a better representation other than Ahsoka Tano in Star Wars lore, period, bi- above even the Mount Rushmore that we have mentioned.
Yeah.
And his name is, I think you can predict what the name is gonna be. His name is Kanan Jarrus.
Kanan Jarrus, right. Yeah.
His name is Kanan Jarrus. And this is a guy who was blind. And in his final moments, he was so in tune with the Force. He was that much one with the Force that he got his eyesight back for a few moments so he could see his family in his last breath. I mean, if that is not what being a Jedi is, then I don't
I
know
don't know
what
what
being a
it is.
Jedi is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And he probably, if there is a Mount Rushmore, he's probably the mountain the Mount Rushmore is being carved on,
right,
right there with Ahsoka Tano.
right,
They are
totally.
the mountain. They
Totally.
are the
These
mountain
all people
because they,
are basically building off that mountain. They are
uh,
the temple, the Jedi
I
temple.
and there's a template that the people who are not the best Jedi are actually the best users of the light side of the Force.
Mm. This is very interesting,
And
which you
Anakin
put in,
comes in that list
because
as well.
this philosophy is really carved clearly by the Bendu. The Bendu, when he
Yeah,
talks about what is the light and the dark, he really says that too much of this is bad and too much of that is bad. Be in the center. And that center is where absolutely all Jedis are craving to be in. And Kanan Jarrus was living in that center for that whole period of his
yeah.
life.
And
Right.
people who have not watched Rebels, people who don't know what Kanan Jarrus is all about, he was never in any movie. He will never be in any live action. Hopefully,
Fully comes
uh,
somewhere, somewhen. Right.
hopefully he will be in some flashback in the Ahsoka series. I would love that if it is done respectfully,
Right.
but I think, and I'm tearing up a bit because that scene is crazy.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
very emotional. Yeah.
it hits hard. That series Rebels hits hard,
Very hard.
and
Oh.
yeah, it was pitched as a children's show, but it will bring a grown man to his knees in a fetal position and make them cry for days. And it did to us. It did that to us. And Kanan Jarrus and Ahsoka Tano are the greatest, in my opinion, based on what we saw of them.
Mm.
There might be others. Yoda, we don't know how Yoda was in his youth. Youth for that species is very subjective.
Hmm.
So we don't know how he was in his youth.
Right.
But the Yoda we saw would probably be so proud of Kanan Jarrus and Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah. They became what he couldn't.
right. They are
So
the
yeah,
better people for the Jedi Order. They are the better people for all
yeah,
that. So yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
this is our
This
soulful
is
list of what we could concoct of the Jedi's of the Mount Rushmore of
yeah,
this Star Wars whole
yeah,
storyline. So thank you, Tejas, and thank you, people, for being with us through this journey
yeah,
of discussing the Sith and the Jedi of
yeah,
Star Wars. And we'll see you
yeah.
in the next one. And may the Force be with you.
May the force be with you, and may the folks be with you.
Peace out.
Yeah.